Hello everyone, Sigmar7 here, and I've decided to take part in the Best of 1970s Challenge hosted by Tim Talks Talkies. He basically started this community challenge of asking us to basically give out what our top 10 or top 15, or, well, the main challenge is the top 25 favorite films of the 1970s, between 1970 to 1979, which, looking back, was a really, really strong decade for cinema. And I gotta be honest, there are plenty of films from this decade I still have not seen. I have not seen Dog Day Afternoon, I have not seen All the President's Men, The Conversation, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I still haven't seen the Godfather movies, so yeah, there's a lot I'm behind on. But these are just what I consider my personal favorite films as of now from the 1970s. And whenever I get around doing my top 30 favorites of each individual year, like I have been doing with the last couple videos I did of those, it will likely change. So keep in mind that these are my personal favorite films from the 1970s. And I should also mention that some of these movies I've only seen once, so I'm going off on vague memory with some of these, so a lot of them do require second viewings. But I just wanted to get this video out and just give my thoughts as of now. So, starting things off with number 25, I have a horror movie released in 1973. In fact, this was, I believe, the first horror movie to be nominated for Best Picture. Of course, I'm talking about The Exorcist. So, I gotta be honest, this movie was really hyped up as being one of the most terrifying films of all time. And while I will admit parts of this film are pretty unnerving and unsettling, I mean, well, okay, even in on this Blu-ray case it says the scariest film of all time. And I gotta be honest, how did Beetlejuice put it best?
I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it!
Yeah, that. Parts of it were just more unintentionally funny than they were actually scary. I mean, like I said, there's a few moments that are pretty unsettling, but nonetheless, it is still an effective piece of filmmaking with great performances, great cinematography, a great soundtrack, and, yeah, it definitely sort of, I wouldn't say it really kick-started, but in a way it kind of started this particular genre of horror films. Although you could argue Rosemary's Baby started that type of horror genre, which, by the way, I personally find Rosemary's Baby more terrifying than this film. That's just me, though. But still a terrific film nonetheless. Coming number 24 is a war movie from 1978, and that is The Deer Hunter, starring Robert De Niro. A terrific, if not very stressful, viewing. Again, I've only seen this movie once. I definitely need to watch it again, but it definitely left an impact on me when I watched it. It's just, it's a necessary viewing if you're a fan of the war genre. Coming in number 23 is Steven Spielberg's first film, released in 1971, and that is Duel. Yeah, this film, it may not be on par for me with films like Jurassic Park or Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan, but it's still a fun viewing nonetheless. And personally, I find this movie more terrifying than The Exorcist. I don't know, it's just a very unnerving concept, being constantly chased by someone and you don't even know why or how. But, yeah, it's a terrific film nonetheless. So, yeah. Coming number 22 is an anime film released in 1979, and that is The Castle of Cagliostro. This was Hayao Miyazaki's first movie he directed. Yes, before he would make Spirited Away and Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, The Boy and the Heron. This was his first film he did, and this was before Studio Ghibli. So, and I gotta say, as someone as myself who has not watched the Lupin the Third show, I can say this was still a ton of fun to watch, and it does, if anything, it makes me want to check out the show. But yeah, you can watch this movie without any knowledge of the show because it works as its own film. So yeah, definitely a ton of fun right here. Coming to number 21 is Patton, another war movie, this one starring George C. Scott, and what is easily one of his best performances, one of the best speeches in cinema, and again, it's another long war film that's, well, almost 3 hours long. I think The Deer Hunter is a little over 3, but a terrific film that definitely deserved to win Best Picture and Best Actor, so, yeah. Okay, coming in number 20, I believe? Yeah, 20. Okay, yeah. Coming in number 20 is yet another horror film, and that is Dawn of the Dead. What can I say? As much as I love Night of the Living Dead, I actually prefer this one. It's just a more fun experience. It has a more fun tone to it, where these people have to survive in a shopping mall, of all things, to get away from the zombies. not to mention some of the best-looking effects, practical effects, all thanks to Tom Savini. So, yeah. Coming in at number 19, this is quite a 180 we're taking here, going from a gory zombie post-apocalypse film to a fun family musical film, and that is The Muppet Movie. What can I say? I love The Muppets. Even though I didn't really watch The Muppet Show, I did watch The Muppet Movies, and this is without a doubt the best out of all of them. It's just a lot of fun, okay? It's definitely one of those feel-good type movies, and it has a great cast of characters, great songs, very funny, and also just... I think this would be the type of film... can't talk today. This would be the type of movie that would be fun to basically make like a bingo game out of when it comes to the cameo, like the celebrity cameos, given the amount of like famous actors they got for this film. Coming in number 18 is another wholesome film from my childhood, and that is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I don't think I need to say much about this movie. The remake by Tim Burton is okay, I guess, and I still have not seen Wonka, which I've heard mixed things about that movie, but either one can't top the original, and Gene Wilder, may rest in peace. Let's see, coming in number, what was that? 18? Okay, coming in number 17 is The Ascent. This is a Russian war film from 1977, and a fun fact is that the director of this film was the wife to the director of Come and See, another very powerful war movie from Russia. And while I do prefer Come and See, this film is still a phenomenal piece of filmmaking. It does have kind of a slow pace, but it definitely has a very rewarding ending to it. And yeah. Coming number 16 is Rocky. Of course, this is the box set that comes with the original 6 movies, but I'm going with the first Rocky. Rocky 2 is a great follow-up, but the first Rocky is the best. And by the way, rest in peace to Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed. He shall be missed. And yeah, I'm not a big sports movie person or a boxing person, but even I have to agree, Rocky is still a phenomenal film nonetheless. Coming to number 15 is Watership Down. I think I've talked about this film before in the past. If not, it's just a phenomenal animated film. One that probably scarred a lot of kids who grew up with this movie because parents didn't know what to expect from this movie because they never read the book. But yeah, a terrific film with gorgeous animation and a really dark but still compelling story. Coming number 14 is Chinatown by Roman Polanski. Probably my second favorite film of his after The Pianist, but yeah. What can I say? Jack Nicholson is just phenomenal in this movie. A great film noir and an ending that I can imagine will be very upsetting from some people, but there's a reason why it ended the way it did, and I love the film for that, how it doesn't end in a more uplifting note. Coming number 13 is one of my favorite comedies to come out of the 70s, and that is Monty Python, The Holy Grail. What can I say? It's super quotable. It's so absurd and over the top, but it's just a fun time. I still need to watch the other 2 Monty Python films, as well as the show Flying Circus, but yeah, terrific movie, a lot of fun. Coming number 12 is another Russian film. That is Stalker by Andrei Tarkovsky. I definitely need to watch this again, but from what I remember, I still really loved it. It is a slow burn of a film, but that's what this director is known for. But it definitely did lift like quite the image on me, I guess you could say. But again, I need to watch this again, as well as watch the rest of this director's movies. Coming number 11 is this underrated animated gem, in my opinion, and that is Algro non tropo. This is just a DVD because there is no Blu-ray for this at the moment. But this is an Italian animated film that's basically a parody of Disney's Fantasia. It basically is Fantasia, but as a comedy. It's really funny. It's very trippy and psychedelic. It's just a fun time all around. Again, I hope this gets a Blu-ray upgrade in the future. Coming number 10 is another really trippy animated film from the 70s, and that is Badana of Sadness. This is an anime film that was lost for a long period of time until Cinelicious Pix. I'm not sure that's how you pronounce this boutique label. Basically, they, I guess, dug it up and they got the rights and they essentially restored this film the best they could. And it's a really great restoration. It is a very dark and very 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 unusual animated film from the time. It's not your typical anime in that it's a more artistic anime. It's like, the best I can describe this, imagine if Lars von Trier made an anime, but also has the psychedelic tone of Yellow Submarine, except somehow more trippy. But, yeah. Still a terrific film nonetheless. Coming number 9 is Jaws. I don't know if I need to say anything. It's one of Spielberg's best. But, yeah, basically this was the movie that sort of prevented people from wanting to go back into the sea. And it's sad because I'm someone who loves sharks, and they don't deserve the bad rep that they got because of this movie. But nonetheless, it's still a great movie nonetheless. So, yeah. Coming number 8 is Stanley Kubrick's Barry Lyndon. Again, this is a film I need to rewatch before I remember. I really liked it. It's beautifully shot, beautifully acted. It is another long film. This is also over 3 hours long. A lot of 3-hour-long movies came out in the 70s for some reason, but yeah, again, great film by the great Stanley Kubrick. Not my favorite Kubrick film of the 70s. We'll get to that one shortly. Let's see, what number was that? 10, 9, 8. Coming number 7 is a film I recently watched for the first time. I actually watched this for my Around the World challenge that I still need to finish, but I watched The Holy Mountain by Alejandro Jodorowsky. Y'all might know this movie because this is YMS's favorite film of all time, and I can understand why. This film is so trippy. It is so bizarre. It breaks every conventional rule of basic storytelling. And honestly, I just don't know how to describe the plot of this film because it's so... But it's a movie that deals with themes of, like, politics and religion and other just... There's a lot of symbolism in the film, and between this and Santa Sangre, I can see why this director is highly praised by the cinema community because, yeah, his films are very different from most people's filmography. Not a film for everyone, but I personally really enjoyed this movie. Coming in number 6 is Apocalypse Now by Francis Ford Coppola. Yeah, I still haven't seen the Godfather films, but I've seen this. But yeah, talk about one of the greatest war films of all time. It is really intense, very powerful. I definitely need to watch the Redux cut eventually, as well as the documentary Hearts of Darkness. But yeah, terrific film, best Vietnam War movie of all time. And now we're down to the top 5. So for number 5, I have to go with Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver. I don't think I can explain why. It's one of Scorsese's absolute best, at least for what I've been told, because I still have a lot of his movies I still need to watch. But this was just great. Robert De Niro, again on this list, is terrific as Travis Bickle. And it's just a terrific, if not dark, story nonetheless. Coming number 4 is my favorite animated film to come out of the 70s, and that is Fantastic Planet. Definitely, again, another very trippy, surreal film that... You'll notice a lot of my favorite animated films are very trippy and surreal. And, yeah, this is definitely up there as one of the more surreal ones. But it has a really unique narrative and, again, has a lot of symbolism to it about politics and whatnot. But in a way that's very... Well, I know I say the word unique a lot, but I don't know what else to say. But if you haven't seen this movie, definitely check it out. And I hope this director's other films get a Criterion release in the future. Coming number 3 is... I don't think this needs any introduction, but, yeah, Star Wars. Well, films are falling out. But yeah, the original Star Wars, this is my second favorite of all the Star Wars movies after The Empire Strikes Back, but nonetheless, it's a very simple story when you really break it down, but it's the way it presents the story is what leaves an impact on everyone. From its likable cast of characters to the John Williams score, it's a classic for a reason. I love watching these movies at least once a year, and can't wait to watch them again, and also can't wait to check out the bonus features that's on the back, because these particular Blu-rays come with, like, the documentary Empire of Dreams, so can't wait to check this out. But yeah, Star Wars, it's a classic. And now for my last two, I'm not going to lie, these last two I really struggled to pick which I consider my favorite, since not only are these my two favorite films of the 70s, they are two of my favorite films of all time. They are both in my top 10 favorite films ever. But, yeah, for number 2, I have to go with Alien by Ridley Scott. I mean, what's to say that's already been said? It's one of my all-time favorite horror films, one of my favorite sci-fi films, although my number 1 is technically also a sci-fi film, but still, the Xenomorphs are some of the greatest looking aliens in all of cinema, and Sigourney Weaver is just great as Ripley, one of the greatest female leads in any film. But yeah, it's a classic for a reason. And now to my number 1 favorite film of all time, which is A Clockwork Orange. Favorite film of the 1970s, of course, that's what I meant to say. But it is one of my favorite films of all time. Even though it's a movie I've only seen once, but just based on the one experience, it definitely left this impression on me. But yeah, what can I say? But the Malcolm McDowell as Alex, his best performance of all time, without a doubt. And talk about a character who, despite committing all these horrible acts, you end up feeling sympathy for him towards the second half of the story, which, if y'all seen the movie, you know exactly what I mean by that. But it's a terrific film that is worth at least one viewing, but for me, I'll definitely have to revisit this again in the future. And so, those are my top 25 favorite films of the 1970s. Sorry if I kind of went a little rambly here. This was unscripted, so I just wanted to get this out and give you a basic idea of what my personal favorite films of the 70s are. Hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.